Hi, everyone. This is Rob Roy, and welcome to the HUBB Financial Crypto Show. We're going to bring on our resident crypto expert, Mr. Brandon Burton, here in just a moment. But before we do that, let's just take a quick look at what's going on in the equity markets before we talk about all things crypto. As we can see from the S&P, we're moving right around the 10-day moving average, breaking a little bit below it at this point in time. But one of the things that I chatted about in the weekend update is the fact that we're setting up for what could be, it's not complete yet, but awfully close to an ending diagonal, which is a pattern that occurs periodically in a wave 5, which means that in general terms, without getting real technical, this wave 5 could be coming to an end. And if the wave 5 does start to come to an end, then we could start to have a move back down to the previous 4. Now, the question becomes, what would cause this? We're in a period of indecision going into the elections, but normally what happens is after you go through the elections, the indecision goes away, and the markets honestly don't really care what party wins. They just want to know who's in control, and they adjust accordingly. So the indecision part goes away, and the markets react accordingly. But why would we potentially move to the downside after the election? Is there something that could be going on before the elections? The one thing that I did want to point out real quick before we talk about the crypto world is the bond market. And the bond market is acting quite odd. You're moving into Fed easing cycle, at least that's what they told us. And then that real shy comment that Chairman Powell made of, well, we're still reducing our balance sheet. So it was kind of coy more than shy on, well, are they moving into an easing cycle or are they not? That's what the bond market is trying to sort out, and the potential for inflation to come back. Something is going on in the bond world. If we move to the TLT on prices on the long end of the bond market, you can see prices moving down. Yields and prices move inversely. So with prices going down, that means yields are going up on the long end of the curve as well. So with all that going on in the dichotomy, disconnect between the bond market and the equities market, let's talk about what's going on in the crypto market. And with that, we'll bring in Brandon Burton, who to me is the foremost expert in this area. And Brandon, cryptos have been acting to me, when you look at it from a charting standpoint, exactly how you would think they would be acting at this point in time. We had a break up, we tested it, we can look at that chart in a little bit, and we're moving back to the upside. It seems like all things are much more in line with what you would expect in crypto land than they are in either the equities or the bond market. So what say you, my friend?
Maybe because it's a newer market, it kind of follows what it should a little bit more than the other markets because it can't be manipulated quite as much. And I say quite as much because we all know everything can be manipulated, obviously. It's been a couple of weeks, Rob. I missed your face. I missed hanging out with you. I can't wait for you to go over the charts with me, but I will go ahead and mention a couple of things happening behind the scenes. You alluded to one of them. But before we get to that, we're going to talk a little bit about how money flow works and what's been happening with BlackRock and well purchasing over the last little bit. Typically, and this is in any market, especially crypto, prior to any retail people jumping in, we have a lot of well purchases. We have a lot of buyers here. And if you check out this chart right here, this is, as we said, this is the realized cap for new wells. We can see an explosion in 2024. And obviously, that is led by BlackRock, MicroStrategy, and the ETFs. The whale wallets, meaning wallets that are accumulating more than 1,000 Bitcoin, has absolutely exploded. And usually this does precede any retail buying, and we haven't seen retail come into that yet. And we can see that by looking at Google Trends. We can see that by looking at a couple of other indicators that we kind of watch over here in the background, and they just have not hopped in yet. So what does this mean going forward? It means that we still have a lot of money coming to play. And one of the points that I'm going to talk about here in a second is going to tell you exactly how that's going to get started. But BlackRock has been on their world tour lately. The world tour, I guess, tour around America, been going off about how you should allocate and start putting Bitcoin in your portfolio. They are spreading awareness left and right, making sure everybody has an allocation to Bitcoin. So I think that is a pretty big deal right now. And one of the reasons that Bitcoin is starting to move to the upside here as of late. But we do have a couple other things that are people are watching. If you throw this next chart on the screen now, when we look at this, this is the presidential election. And you mentioned, obviously, that nobody cares who wins the election as long as we have that behind us. People don't like uncertainty in the markets, and I will agree to you to some extent. But in crypto, it's going to be a little bit different this year. I think if Mr. I'm going to say, let's not get flagged in any which way. If one person wins on the red side, let's just on the red line here. You guys can go ahead and read that for yourself.
Okay.
I've heard that that we get copyright style, all kinds of things happen if you mention names. But if you look at the red side here, if that person wins, that's going to be hugely beneficial for Bitcoin, just because policy has been stated and there is clarity in knowing which way Bitcoin's going to be supported once that happens. So we will see a large move to the upside, and I'm talking 80, 90,000 by year end for Bitcoin. If the bottom end takes the win here in November, the blue line there, you'll notice that there's going to be quite a bit of a downturn. I think we could see the 50 level. We aren't going to drop to zero like some people are saying. We're not going to drop in half, even like some other people are saying. But there's going to be a drop. It's going to be down to 50, but it will start to drift up just slower until we see more clarity from that person and we see Gensler get fired. When we see that person fire Gensler, then we're going to be in good shape. Now, you'll notice this has just happened in the last day, but there's a big, huge separation in who's winning on Polymarket too. So that is obviously why Bitcoin is starting to move up on the charts. It actually, if you were to do an overlay of Bitcoin's chart and this betting market right here, it followed it to a T, including that little bump up that you see at 9 a.m. this morning and the little drop down. It followed it exactly. So that kind of lets you know what's going to happen if we get the red side to win. Now, the next thing that we do have as far as the news cycle coming out, and this is tomorrow, HBO is releasing a special supposedly going to reveal the actual identity of Satoshi, obviously the creator of Bitcoin. Now, before yesterday, Len Sassaman was pulling ahead, almost 40% chance of being revealed as the identity of Satoshi. Now we got Nick Sasbo. He's pulling up the head here at 24%. So we're going to be watching that with great anticipation. I think HBO is full of crap. They have no clue what they're talking about. And they're going to go ahead and spin their wheels and get people to view this thing, and ultimately won't have any concrete evidence, but it will be their opinion on who Satoshi is. As multiple, if you go research any of these people, none of them claim to be Satoshi. Obviously, Len has passed away. His wife said he wasn't Satoshi. Nick also said he wasn't Satoshi. Adam also said he wasn't Satoshi. And you go on down the list. Like, nobody claims to be Satoshi. So I don't know what HBO is trying to pull here, but it's going to be interesting to see their shenanigans. And the last thing that I wanted to mention, I talked about retail coming in here, but FTX had their hearing this morning for their bankruptcy plan that they were submitting forward. And now this plan is big. This is a big deal because FTX back in 2022 obviously got decimated. And when that happened, the big collapse, everybody lost all their money. It's been locked up for 2 years, just over 2 years now. And this hearing today is their final hearing to pay back those creditors. And it's $16.5 billion they're going to be paying back to creditors. And as we went live, like the minute we went live, they just released over the newswire that plan did get confirmed. They are going to approve that, and they are going to start paying back creditors right away over the next quarter. And they should have all minor creditors, anybody with a claim of less than $50,000, paid back by the end of the year. Now, originally, this claim was supposed to be paid in stablecoin USDC, USDT, but apparently, from what I'm reading here in this bankruptcy, it's going to be paid back in cash, which isn't as positive as I was hoping, but it still is a positive. These people who are crypto friendly are going to be paid back $16 billion in cash, and I'm going to assume they're going to be throwing their money right back into crypto, which is going to be great for us because once $16 billion of buy pressure starts to come back into crypto and some of those riskier assets, we're going to be in a good spot. And that will be your sign that retail is coming back. And with that confluence of the markets, of the election and who's going to win the election. Once we know that of certainty, and all this money hitting in quarter four here, late quarter four, November, there is nothing going to stop this train coming up our way now. Anyway, so that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes in crypto. I'd love for you to take a look at the chart and tell me what you see.
Oh, absolutely. I look forward to looking at the chart, and a couple things that I wanted to comment about. First of all, I 100% agree with you. I don't think it makes a difference in that FTX settlement, whether it's paid in cash or whatever, because those people are obviously big cryptos people, and they're going to just take that cash and go right into crypto. It doesn't really matter what the outcome is as far as how the payment's made, in my opinion. I did want to ask you about the Satoshi thing. I saw that. And of course, HBO is going after viewers, which is kind of their modus. Originally, I can remember when home box office first came out and the content that they would come out. And now they're just all about creating conspiracy stuff and getting eyes. And I just can't stand it all. It's hard for me to even watch anything that they produce anymore. It seems like they've changed significantly. So yeah, I'm with you there as well. All they're doing is going after viewers and creating headlines on whatever they want to. And if you were Satoshi, why in the world would you ever come forward? There's no way that person is ever going to come forward. So it's just is complete craziness along those lines. And I did want to get to the election stuff as well as we go and look at a chart of Bitcoin, because I will go through as you know, I look at charts. You give me all the behind the scenes stuff on what's going on. But as far as the election is concerned, I wanted to be very clear that it's the equities market that doesn't care who wins the election. They just adjust accordingly, and then the market rotation occurs. But I do agree with you. It will be significant for the crypto world who wins. Obviously, if one party wins, it's far more crypto friendly than the other party. And that's significant. And so, and I agree with you. If it goes against crypto in the actual election, it's going to be a short-term drawdown, because people, I think, in the long run, are going to be like, I'm a little worried about how the policies are going to play out, and maybe crypto makes even more sense there too. So I think crypto wins in the end. I just think if one party wins, it rallies sooner. The other party wins, maybe there's a quick drawdown that could be a buying opportunity, and then we move higher. But anyway, those are my comments. But thank you for filling in the blanks there. Let's take a look at a chart of Bitcoin real quick, because I think this is really key from a purely technical standpoint. So we had this triangle pattern, and I talk often in times about how a triangle will break one of three ways. It either breaks and takes off, it breaks out and comes back and tests the breakout and then takes off, or you get a false breakout and then the big move is the other way. And I think what's playing out here is we had a little bit of a downward head fake here, and we're breaking to the upside. We came back and we tested it, and I think this is really key, is that coming back and testing the point of the breakout here around 60,000 held, and now we're moving back up, because I think the potential of getting to 65 and then, okay, we're above 65,000, we're going to run straight to 70,000. This quick move back down here, and the longs in crypto were like, we're not having it. We're moving back to the upside. And I think if we get above 65,000 again, I'm only talking purely from a charting standpoint, Brandon. But if we break back above 65,000 again, to me, it's a quick move at least to 70,000, and then we see from there. The chart I wanted to ask you about, and we've been talking about this in the last few visits that we've had, is on Ethereum, because you can see this triangle here. Slightly different than what we had on Bitcoin, where we've already had the breakout and the test. Here we seem to be forming a triangle. We got above that 2,500 level. We came back down. We did set a pattern of higher lows. But look, the point of the triangle, dead on 2,500. And when this kind of thing happens, I have no idea which way things are going to break. I can tell you how the breakouts work on triangles, but I can't tell you which way they're going to go. And it just seems like Ethereum is going to make a pretty significant move here, one way or the other. I just find it really interesting that the midpoint of this triangle, the symmetrical triangle, is exactly at 2,500, which has acted as support resistance over the recent terms. Do you have any updates on what's going on in Ethereum land? Any kind of a tilt as far as which way this may break?
Yeah, Ethereum typically each cycle will follow and as it's lost dominance to Bitcoin, I mean, a lot of dominance. I mean, typically it will roll over and start to gain dominance again later in the cycle. And I don't know how far that's going to be into the cycle this year. So the issue is obviously Bitcoin had a huge head start with the ETFs coming and putting a lot of buy pressure in there. So it gained a lot of dominance. But Ethereum, the Ethereum Foundation has been selling a lot of Ethereum lately. As soon as the ETFs got launched, they started selling Ethereum, which has kind of put some negative pressure on it, which is very unfortunate. But I think until we start to see some of those ETF purchases start to gain some positive days, and now that Grayscale, the Ethereum Trust, has stopped selling as much, we could see that soon. And I think Ethereum is more of a beach ball than any of the other top 5 crypto assets because it's been held down so long. So if it is going to explode, it's going to be one of those bigger exploding moments that everybody's been waiting for. A lot of people building on Ethereum, including BlackRock, Base, Optimism, Polygon, a lot of people, a lot of the layer twos, all building on Ethereum. So we have a lot of confluence that could happen if we just get that beach ball effect. Nothing's going to stop that all the way up to 4,000.
Oh wow, 4,000. I was looking above 3,000, and then
don't stop it. I saw you look. I saw you eyeballing 3,000. I can look where your eyes are on the screen, but I'm not messing around. When I say 4,000, it'll happen quick.
Yeah, and you actually covered one of the questions that I had for you was where do we stand with that Grayscale situation where they're selling. So you covered that as well. So all right, we'll see if we get that upside breakout. If we do, then if we could somehow break above 3,000, then Ethereum could be off to the races from a charting standpoint. Anything else you want to cover? Great stuff,
No, I mean,
as always, my friend, and missed you the past couple of weeks as well. I think this recording worked out extremely well with the timing, with the fact that Bitcoin is showing a bit more bullish momentum here, and a lot of the cryptos. Anything else you wanted to chat about?
I don't always want to come on when it's doing well, but it happens to be doing well. My little trip to Africa was great, and so this works out well for me. But obviously, we do these shows 5 times a week where we discuss this stuff and we go over this over at Digital Investor. We'll go ahead and put a link in the description for you guys to check us out. But we would love to see you over there, where we kind of go in detail more on how to use crypto and how to do things like stake crypto, go ahead and vote on as a governance token, that kind of stuff, and be able to use your crypto for whatever it's supposed to be, the actual utility, and you actually would benefit more from doing those kinds of things. But everything else is status quo. We're going to be watching how this FTX payout is going to proceed over the next couple of months. What happens in this HBO documentary, and then of course we're all eyes on the election. Sadly, it's going to play a big role in crypto this year. I hate to have it to be so pivotal, but it's a very important thing that we're going to be watching this year. So we'll keep in touch with that.
Yeah, at least to the short to intermediate term. But glad you made it back safe and sound from the land of wild animals out there in Africa. We will get together again soon here and update things. And perhaps by that point in time, we've had the breakout move in Ethereum and can see which way we're going here, at least on the short term. But I agree with you. I'm not sure we're going to get too significant a move before we get that November election out of the way. It's just getting too close at this point in time. But we'll see. Look forward to it, and look forward to chatting with you again soon. Thanks for your time, Brandon, as always. Appreciate it very much.
We'll see you.
Take care, everybody.